You thought I was gonna say something funny right now. Well, tough luck. Deal with it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 67 of the DNVR Nuggets' Serbian Corner. My name is Miroslav, and thank God podcasting is something you do sitting down, because I just finished playing 5-on-5 basketball 90 minutes ago, and my feet, ankles, knees, and hips are killing me. Today, we're going to talk about the Nuggets' first two preseason games versus the Suns and versus the Bulls, but are also going to look at our crystal balls and strongly overreact to individual games and rotations we have seen in these two preparation and experimentation games. To help me go nuts with all that, I've called some elite guests, as always. First, a guy behind the camera, working on ones and twos, doing actual work while the stars of the show are having fun and making up words like smuggets and PJ Composure. He is an art photographer, a skier, a really good singer, a mustache owner before it was cool. You can find his first Nuggets vlog on the DNVR Sports YouTube channel, and that would be the one you are currently watching. It's Kalle Gospodar vremena Sorbo. What's up, Kalle?
What up, Miroslav? Good to see you.
Yeah, well, Kalle, I wanted to bring some shine on you because you're a very popular face among the Nuggets fans, but these guys are just not letting you have your fair 10 minutes of fame. So this is why I'm trying to correct this. Tell me, how did you get into the DNVR at the first place?
So I've been around since we became DNVR. So we were a company called BSN Denver before that, and I was with BSN Denver briefly, just for a couple months. That's a really interesting story, though. I was out of college, just freelancing, just out of college. I graduated and was freelancing, just trying to make money with absolutely any way I could with my camera. So I was taking headshots, senior pictures, a bunch of doing some small government work for video type stuff, and just going to this. I was a diehard listener of at the time what was called the BSN Broncos podcast with RK and Zach, and they ended up throwing this little golf tournament thing, putting it together, called the BSN Open. And I was like, you know what? I'm terrible at golf, but this is a chance to go meet some people at work in the industry I want to work in. Like, let's see if I can make something happen. So I went. Terrible at golf. Again, I played horribly, but I ended up getting paired with RK, and RK and I sort of hit it off pretty early. Ended up just like, things went really easy conversation-wise. And then there was a fantasy draft later that night and a watch party at Blake Street Tavern, because we were all in a fantasy league together through the podcast. And Andre Simone, our GM now, was there as well. And he was sort of running the internship program at the time for BSN Denver. And we ended up like really hitting it off. And I was doing some video stuff, some writing stuff. I'd covered both football and basketball in college. And so it was, we just like ended up making it work. And by the end of the night, he had offered me an internship. I mean, he had offered me an interview for an internship. My interview ended up being just like hey, let's throw some ideas around and get you started type thing. And the rest is kind of history. It became pretty evident pretty early at my time at BSN that my digital media skills were what was going to be of most use to the company. So I started making some video content with Ali Monroy, and the rest is history. Here I am. Shortly after that, I started producing the post-game shows for the Nuggets before it was even called the DNBA show. And we're just about 4 years and a month past that. So I've been with the fellas the whole time.
By the way, BSN, like, that's the best name ever. Brandon Spano Network.
Oh,
beautiful.
Yeah, it was
beautiful.
That was people would ask us what BSN stood for, and we would not answer. That's how that went.
So years have been passing by, and DNVR grew and grew, and it was doing bigger and bigger things. And describe me how it looked like when Adam told you that you're traveling to Serbia. Was it like, hey guys, I need you to do something, you're traveling with me to Serbia? or was it like, are you interested maybe in going into Serbia
So
with
so
me?
we talked a lot about it for a long time, and we actually didn't think the trip was going to happen. So it was like we'd all sort of prepared for the trip not happening, even though we had been talking about it for months. And then Adam called me. It was like a random day off. I was in the middle of the mountains, and he goes, "Do you have your passport? Is your passport updated?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're good. Like it expires in like 2 years. I think we're fine." And he goes, "Are you free these dates?" And I said, "Yes, I think." And he goes, "Okay, we're going to Serbia." And then we had a meeting that next week, and and Adam just sort of laid out his vision for the trip. So it was a lot of like, "Hey, Kale, you're going to be photo journaling the whole thing. We're going to be doing live shows there. We're going to shoot a documentary that you might have to shoot some B-roll for," and just sort of laid out what everybody's job was going to be at while we were in Serbia. And it happened really quick. This was like a month before we got on a plane. So it was all really last minute, but then we got on a plane and went and had the time of our lives.
So, what is your biggest impression from the Serbia trip? We've heard too many things from the other fellas. Just give me like a 3-sentence recap of Serbia trip.
God, that's so hard. The biggest takeaway that everybody says, and it's just unfortunately the truth, is the hospitality we experienced was unlike anything from yourself and everybody that was there. It was really like the most hospitable place I've ever been. Everybody, was you wouldn't let you pay for anything, and the food was on the house, and anytime you entered someone's home, it was drinks and rakia and food, and let me see what I can do for you. And just every place we went was like that for the entire 8 days. It was really, really kind of remarkable. I've never experienced hospitality like that, even in some very hospitable cultures. Like I went to college in Iowa, which is the Midwest, known as a very, very, very hospitable place. And that was my biggest takeaway. And then it's just, I made lifelong friends. Getting to spend the week hanging out with you and that type of thing and learning about basketball culture outside of the United States was really kind of special. Getting to go to the Federation of Basketball in Serbia, the culture of basketball from a foreign perspective outside of this AAU basketball culture that sort of we grow up with here was really special and unique. And then obviously we turned that into making a documentary, and so we got really into the weeds of it. But experiencing that culture was really special.
I really appreciate you're talking about the hospitality in Serbia, because I know you're a guy that traveled a lot. You've been to many places, especially in Europe. So that really means a lot to me. Tell me just one more thing before we bring the other guys in. So we've seen your first vlog on the DNVR YouTube channel. How did this happen, and is this something you plan on doing in the future?
Yeah, hopefully I get to make more of them. I kind of did it without permission, to be honest. I started vlogging this summer when I went on a 5,000-mile road trip across the United States and made a 20-minute mini feature about that. And so I've just been getting more and more into video production, and I've been looking for more and more opportunities here at DNVR. And I sort of had some free time that first morning that we were there, so I took a couple hours, edited a day one vlog together, and sent it to the guys. And I was like, "Hey, is this anything we'd have any interest from this trip? No worries if not. I'm just trying to work on this type of thing." And Adam gave me a lot of notes, and we decided to do one for the whole trip instead of one for every day. But then the rest of the trip, I just kept filming, and I tried to make it a little bit different than what RG does, a little bit different than what anything has been seen here, kind of a mix of what we were doing plus the pressers plus practice, so that you really felt like you were just right alongside us for that entire week. And I was really happy with the way it turned out, and the reception has been amazing. So I appreciate everybody that's watched.
By the way, before everybody asks, you are not living in the DNVR headquarters. It's just that your internet in your house is dead for a second, so this is why you're calling up from the studio. Okay, time for our second guest. He is the returning offender, my fellow knower of useless information. He is having the time of his life on Twitter this summer, and more specifically watching Lakers fans meltdown in the past couple of weeks. It's Steven Reinert. What's new, Steve?
Oh, not much new, just getting ready for the new season. Watching all the preseason I can. Went to the open practice this morning. And yeah.
So how was practice? Does it does it differ a lot comparing to the live games? Is it the similar kind of intensity on the court?
I mean, no, it's a lot more lighthearted for sure. Um, obviously it's an open practice, so that may have been more the goal, really, make it fun for fans type thing. But no, it's cool. You got to see a lot of the younger guys show their skill sets in a way you don't get to see in the preseason games because they get a lot more run in this.
So you've seen two buddy cup teams of coaches, Nikola Jokic and Aaron Gordon on one side, and then Jamal Murray and KCP on the other side. So which coaching crew did impress you more?
I mean, obviously it's going to be Jokic. He's just
Duh.
like he just knows basketball way too well to not be a good coach,
I'm going to ask you one thing to do on this show. Please explain to all the Lakers fans who are watching this right now that why actually the Nuggets coach Vic Lombardi make fun of their team.
Oh man, why did he do it?
Yeah, why did the Nuggets coach Vic Lombardi do that?
The Nuggets coach Vic Lombardi. Man, yeah, that was like 47 years of pain he was releasing in that one.
Okay. It's time for our last guest for today. He is a de facto co-host of this show. He is one of the best narrators of this era of Nuggets basketball. Once a host of a cult podcast called The Dig. My dear friend for years, it's Nick Hertzog. Nick,
what's up, buddy?
So you seem prepared to deliver some flamethrower takes about.
Yeah, hold on a
Nuggets
second.
group
I'm
today.
currently booking a one-way ticket to Serbia after Kale's sales pitch on his trip. So I'll be with you guys in just a minute.
Very good, very good.
Yeah. You have an extra bedroom for me, I'm hoping.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
the
good.
one behind me. So that's
there's a couch right there that looks pretty inviting.
Yeah. We'll make it. We'll make it good. We'll make it good. We've talked about this for some years now. Okay, so before we get into the games from last week, I just wanted to talk a bit about the ESPN's top 100 list of players, and in particular, only about the number 2 guy on the list, Nikola Jokic. So, is this the proof of why Perk wasn't among many faces that got fired from ESPN this summer? Like, is only the hot takey kind of clickbaiting farm? Is this the only reason ESPN exists today, Kale?
Yeah. I mean, God, ESPN is a far cry from the ESPN of my childhood, to say the least. But I genuinely think they're the people in there, just because I'm in this business, and we're trying to come up with headlines that people click on and that type of thing too. I genuinely think there's some earnestness behind content like this. Like, I'm sure they polled the people and Giannis came out on top, and they, definitely embellished that and made a graphic and everything to try and get as much engagement as possible. But I think there is an earnestness that the people that are doing it at least feel that way, probably. The problem is the people they employ clearly don't know what they're talking about, which is the problem with ESPN. Is in general it's turned into it's full of personalities, it's not full of basketball experts. And there's a world in which both exist. That's what we try and do at DNVR, obviously. But it is very hard to imagine that ESPN is really just sending this thing out there knowing they're wrong. I think the people behind it are doing honest work. I just think it's the wrong people. By quoting and saying a panel of basketball experts, I think there's a lot of stretching going on with the using of that term.
You're just making jokes about BSN. I'm still not entirely sure to this day what ESPN stands for. Because
Exactly.
Is it Entertainment Sports Network and the SP?
Yeah,
I still don't. I have no idea, but it made me think of the E. I think the E is entertainment in ESPN. I'm probably totally wrong about this. But I think they've really leaned into the entertainment part more than the sports part, is what it seems like to me. And the sad probably reality is that, at least for a national audience, most people are not interested in the sports as much as they're interested in the drama, the sniping, the social media posts, the hot takes, this kind of stuff. At least in American pop culture, that seems to be the case.
Yeah, Pat Rasmussen has a good explanation of ESPN. It's like East Coast pseudo sport network, something like that. It's like he's been hard on them. So Nick, tell me, Giannis must have had some really impressive this summer, because he overtook that number one spot everybody was giving to Jokic at the end of June last year.
Yeah, it's like all of the pundits just hit reset on their on last season or something, just wiped it from their memory or something, and we're like, can we go back to the NBA world that we preferred? It's completely ridiculous. I don't think the real basketball people agree with this at all. I mean, the people that really know the game and get into the game, I don't see a lot of people who still would take Giannis over Jokic. I mean, I think it's a tough argument to make. They're both great players, so I'm not so like upset by this. But I think, yeah, coming off a championship and the way that the Nuggets won one, and the run that Jokic had against what happened with the Bucks going out in round one, I think it's a pretty bold call to put Giannis ahead of Jokic.
So Steve, tell me, was this list making you mad or happy? When you saw it?
The list, I didn't even pay attention to it. I really didn't even pay attention to it. I was like, at this point, we're vindicated, Our boy's done it. Like, so I mean, I saw it and I was like, oh, Jokic number 2. I'm like, whatever. Like, it's, we'll see when the season starts. We'll see how accurate that is.
Yeah, like, are we still living rent-free in your heads, guys? Come on, we should all have fun during the summer. Come on, guys. There's no reason for violence.
My favorite part about that list is the blurb that they have to publish below it about like why he ranks where he ranks. And Ohm is the guy who ended up writing the blurb for ESPN. And he's a great dude. He was at Nuggets training camp with us, and I got to meet him. And he was just like but he was basically apologizing for the ranking the entire time. It was just like, well, but.
Yeah.
So it was pretty funny.
It's really, I think it really, they just want they want Giannis to be the bigger star. They want him to be the face of the NBA. I think that's, to me, there's like that. If you're talking about two great players, it's like these other kind of intangible things that I think people gravitate toward. And being in the entertainment business, they're going to gravitate toward the person they find more entertaining, which I think is ridiculous. I think Jokic is maybe the most entertaining player of my lifetime, but I'm not everyone.
Yeah, we just need to force them to watch Jokic for a couple more finals runs, so then maybe some of those guys will finally admit how fun that is. Okay, it is time for our first break. Don't go anywhere. These messages are super important. Okay, we're back. Game 1 versus Phoenix, takeaways. So let's overreact to preseason games stronger than we overreacted to the Summer League, because let's face it, Summer League is just... What is Summer League, guys?
An excuse to go to Vegas for the week.
Exactly. A really good excuse to leave for Vegas.
Oh, speaking of which, I'm going to Vegas for the first time in my life in like a couple of weeks. So any tips in the chat would be like super helpful. Places to go,
like,
restaurants.
Genuinely, if you're not staying at Circa, you have to at least go check it out. It's like one of the cool. I know they're a sponsor of us, but like it's one of the coolest places I've ever been.
Sweet. I think we're getting tickets to the Eye to do a show in the huge eyeball, or it's not an eyeball,
the
it's
sphere.
severe, but yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. The
Yeah,
sphere
it's
from
really
the outside
cool.
is actually crazy. Like
It's
so
nuts.
much bigger and more impressive.
Well, yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it in person, just from the videos and stuff. It's insane.
So
Anyway,
we'll go in
Not about
circles with our takeaways from the game. Just one note for the beginning. We left CT Fazio alone on Strawther Island during the summer just because he missed most of his shots in Vegas. As I said, it's just Vegas. So naturally now we need to overcorrect and call Calvin Booth an effing genius for drafting Jay Straw with his first available pick. So, Nick, I'm going to let you cook because I've seen you have some feelings about.
Oh
Jay
yeah, I
Straw.
want him in the starting lineup now. Like, just put him in. Take MPJ. Put MPJ on the bench. Reserve the back until the play. No, I'm not that. I'm not coming in that hot.
Where's the 5 pepper graphic when we need it?
Hey,
Yeah,
we haven't been benching MPJ for some time on this show, so why not?
KCP, he probably wouldn't mind. I don't know. No, I mean, but yeah, I'm excited. Like I think what I really like about this is that he could be a legitimate security blanket in the case of an MPJ back issue, which is inevitable. We don't know, maybe it won't be this season. Hopefully not. Fingers crossed. It will be one season, though, or multiple seasons that we're going to lose him for a chunk of time, very likely. So I like that he's there behind him and even to kind of, possibly push him. I mean, I don't think MPJ is the type that's going to like let off the gas or I don't know. I think he wants to be a great player, but he's accepted his role in the system. He talked about that the other day, which I thought was great to hear. But I mean, the more long guys you have that can shoot and rebound and play a little defense and slash. I mean, I just feel like this rookie class right now is really stacked, and they have a lot of depth moving forward if these guys continue to develop.
So, Steve, what are your impressions on Jay Straw?
I love him. He's great. I mean, obviously, after watching the open practice today, he shined there as well. Like, yeah, he can do a little bit of everything. He can get to the rim. He can obviously shoot it, and that release is lightning quick. It's incredible how fast he gets it off. So yeah, I'm excited for him. We'll see how long it takes for him to crack the rotation.
What's his actual height? Is it like in
6'7"?
He's 6'7".
6'7".
It's
Okay.
listed. Yeah. To be honest, he looks a bit small to me for a 6'7" guy. I don't know. It might be the way he runs, because to me it feels like he has blisters on his feet. So he's like jumping, not to hurt his blisters too much. It's just my first stupid impression of him. But he does look a bit small, but it didn't affect his game at all in these two games.
I think it depends on where he plays. If he plays the 2, he's really long, so he's a really long 2. The hard part is there's not going to be a lot of minutes at the 2 with KCP and Christian Brown. So he's probably going to have to play backup 3 if he does end up in that starting lineup where he's a little bit undersized. He's got a plus wingspan, though. That helps on closeouts especially. And he moves his feet really quick. I don't know if he'll ever be an elite defender, but a plus defender in a lineup that has some length, something that can be, at least thought about.
We haven't seen it yet because Christian Brown is injured right now or healing an injury. So, Nick, do you feel like Christian would be the 3 next to Strawther, based on their physiques, maybe in some kind of mashed up units?
Yeah, maybe. I don't like for the bench. I'm not really. I don't know. I'm never somebody who thinks they need like a full, complete like second team. I don't really see the bench that way. So I for me, it's kind of more of like a matchup thing. It's kind of like a night by night thing. And so as like just a useful piece that can be thrown in and do a bunch of different things. Like I was just saying, being an undersized small forward or an oversized guard, that's fine. On the bench, this isn't going to be like an issue in like as like a matchup issue in the playoffs or something like that. His role is going to be different than that. But yeah, as like a just kind of a spark plug that you can bring in who's capable of filling it up and putting up, a 12-point run or something like that in a 3-minute stretch from the bench. I think that's invaluable.
Yeah, my biggest concern about the bench just a week ago was, will there be enough scoring off the bench or shooting? Who can you rely on to put enough points? We kind of felt that their defense should be pretty good, probably better than the one we saw last year from the bench unit. But if we can get that real spark plug in Strawther's body, that would be huge. Steve, what was the big impression of yours from the game one against Phoenix?
Oh man, I don't know. Well, Gillespie played bad in that one, and I want to touch on him because he played great in the second one. Yeah, I don't know if there's. I mean, obviously, I think Julian was really just the main storyline of game one. I think game two, you had a few other guys that shined a little bit more.
Yeah,
Watson had a tough game. We talked about that too. But he's another guy that's just total wild card. Could be huge for them if he develops, but he's pretty raw.
It's going to take a while.
Yeah,
he's going to be a high foul guy for a minute.
He does look pretty raw.
I mean, he might be a high foul guy just in his career.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, he feels like a guy with a draft profile next to him that says great wingspan, standing reach, very, very explosive, can jump out of the gym, but then he doesn't have a great handle, a vision, technique, or a jump shot. No, to be fair, his jumper does look a lot better than what I expected, and his willingness to attack the rim is similar to Christian Braun's from last year with pretty similar results. They're both missing a lot of close shots, although P. Watt is getting fouled a lot, which is a positive. So I think we were hyping him maybe too much during the summer, expecting him to be the main guy next to Christian Braun. He's just the youngest of them all. Like his ascension would be a great asset for Nuggets in the future, but this might not be, his breakout season. What do you think, Kalle?
I think P. Watt's going to be a guy that is very up and down this year, and he's going to get pulled early because of it. I think that's just Malone's the type of coach he is. He has a short leash type of thing. But I think P. Watt, how do I put this? He's less of a Drew Holiday type defender where he just erases a guy or, completely takes a position out of the game. And I think he's more of a big play defender. So I think he's going to have some huge blocks. He's going to have some big steals. He's going to use his size, and those plays can be game changing. But I don't think he's the type of guy that locks down a guy on defense. I think he's going to get blown by a lot. I think that just has to do because he's not reading the game at a high level yet. And part of this is he's 21. He's the youngest guy on the team. He is still learning how to play the game of basketball at a professional level. He was only in college for 1 year. He barely played that year. So there's just not a lot of development that's happened. And I think the only way to have that happen is minutes. And I think he's going to get that opportunity this year just because of how long he is. I think they're going to need his defense, that spark plug, almost the opposite of Julian Strawther's offensive spark plug. I think they're going to need that defensive spark plug from Peyton in a lot of situations to get that big block, to get that big steal off the bench. So I think he's going to get the opportunity. He's going to get some minutes, but I would warn Nuggets Nation to be ready for some growing pains. He's so young, and I think he gets lost on the court a lot. I think he's got a lot of early MPJ where he's out of position on defense a lot, even though he makes some big plays. I would just be weary of thinking he's going to be a ready-made product day one. But 82 games, if he can develop into a guy that gives you, maybe 80% of what Bruce Brown gave you, but at a different position last year, I think you're in a solid place come playoffs because really you only need 7 guys. And the bench, the formality of having 5 guys that fit together isn't as important, and you need just guys out there that can make plays alongside the starters. And I think he's perfectly suited for that role. I just think we're gonna, have to live through some growing pains before he gets there.
I really like that. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say I really like the setup right now that they have, because they can play Justin Holiday and Reggie Jackson for a while to start the season and let these guys just sort of get up to speed, let them continue to develop, get a few minutes here and there in trash time or something like that. I'm really expecting, I don't know if you were going to talk about this, but I'm actually really expecting the Nuggets to get off to a crazy hot start. I think they're going to just tear it up in the first part of the season, because a lot of teams have new players, completely new rosters, in some cases new coaches, even good teams. So like I think there's going to be a lot of kind of figuring out stuff the first couple like month or two, and the Nuggets are just a well-oiled machine that's just going to tear through things. So that could give some of these young guys the opportunity they need in a lot of blowout games or games against bad teams or whatever to really develop here early on, but they don't really need it.
Yeah, I really like these takes about, we don't really need 10 guys. We've seen that last year when push comes to shove, 7, 8 guys, that's all you need. But we're going to speak too much about the bench guys because they're the interesting ones. We already know that the Nuggets starters are the best starting lineup in the world, not only in the league. So sorry for it's even better than the German national team starting lineup. you have to believe me on this, because I've watched a lot of
what World Cup. Silly offseason Twitter debate. Good grief.
So
pure boredom.
We've had a great comment from Dan Lynch saying that the best part of game 1 was Zeke punishing Ball. And I would take this a step further than that, because my favorite moment of the game was Jalen Pickett, who stonewalled Ball when he was switched on him near the basket. Like, the defensive player of the year candidate needs to work on playing against a foot shorter guys at the rim, because he could not move past Jalen Pickett. That was beautiful. Just to go back to the starters for a moment, my biggest impression from this game is the fact that Aaron Gordon is a beast.
Dude.
Like, all of his 7 rebounds looked like he was a drunk uncle playing against his nephews, so he used too much physicality against everybody. Those were not like, gimme rebounds. He took those rebounds, from the hands of other guys. Steve, how impressed are you with the physique of Aaron Gordon to start the season?
Oh man, Aaron Gordon's incredible. He might be I don't know. He's probably my 3rd favorite Nugget all time at this point, like behind Jamal and Jokic. Like, he's phenomenal. He's such a good connective piece. That's like what I like. He's perfect guy in his role and just plays his role, just stars in his role.
Nick, do you agree with the notion that Aaron Gordon is actually the part of the big 3 on this team, and the other guys are filling up, filling in the blanks?
Yeah, for sure. I saw somebody asked on Twitter earlier. I saw, like, in a 3v3, which 3 Nuggets are you taking? It's got to be Jokic, Murray, and AG. I think he just provides something, a level of like physicality, like you were just describing, that they don't really get from anybody else. Maybe KCP kind of in a different way with his defense on the perimeter, but yeah, there are games and there are certain matchups where AG just looks like a man among children. I mean, it's he is just so physically imposing, both from his like body, but also his like jumping ability and just his like sort of tenacity. And then I think, every time I think about Aaron Gordon now, I like immediately I just think about him going through the streets with all of Nuggets Nation after the win, and like that forever will be to me who Aaron Gordon is. Like, and going all the way back to his like sick pad that's just like a converted like factory, old like industrial building or whatever. I mean, he's just such a cool dude. He's such a likable person. He's got to be popular on the team. I don't have any like behind the scenes like information about this, but I can't imagine somebody not loving Aaron Gordon and wanting to be on his team. And that energy and that like that physicality and energy combination that he provides makes it's way more important than any scoring he does or even any kind of like stats that he puts up, I think.
Yeah, Kale, the way Aaron Gordon fits with Michael Porter and Nikola Jokic in that front court, that huge front court, is something that should not be understated because I'm coming back to the ESPN stupid list because one of the notions is like Jokic and Giannis are both great offensively, like there are not levels between them. But on the other side, Giannis is so much better than Jokic on defense. Guys, defense is played by 5 guys on the court. You cannot have defense with one guy. Like I'm so excited about Giannis playing behind Dame Lillard and our guy Malik Beasley. Like that's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be awesome to watch. What do you think, Ale, about the comparison between the two?
Just Aaron Gordon. Where do I want to start? What has really stood out to me is actually just like how hard he's playing. Which like someone needs to remind him that it's preseason because he's been playing so hard. But his playmaking has really stood out to me. This stood out to me at training camp. And then again, in both of these preseason games, like he's had these little touch passes that just like happen under the rim. And he's done like 3 of them now between training camp. And that's new. I don't remember seeing those at all last year. And so I think his playmaking is really taking a step up. I think his IQ is just getting better and better and better the more he plays with Jokic. And to your point about the defense, team defense, the Nuggets are so long at every position. They're oversized at every position outside of maybe KCP, but even though he's got a crazy wingspan. So just team defense, I mean, people were wondering if they were able – it really showed in the Heat series, right? Just how long the Nuggets are, how much bigger they were than the Heat. They're plus-sized at every position, and that allows them to play team defense that really locks teams down. I mean, the Miami Heat only had 105 offensive rating during the finals, which would have been – I mean, yeah, they went cold from 3 as well, but that would have been – bottom third of the league during the regular season. So it was really impressive what they were able to do team defense wise. Going back to the ranking thing that Miroslav said, I think it's really interesting when you look at the big 4 for Milwaukee with Giannis, Dame, Middleton, and Brook Lopez. They all rank above where the Nuggets' big 4 are. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out during, and if we luckily, hopefully get that in the finals, because I really hope the whole world gets to see what I got to saw in Serbia, which was Jokic versus Giannis in a high stakes game. It was the literally craziest thing I've ever seen. But I hope the whole world gets to see that. And to your defense point, they're going to struggle on the perimeter. They're going to be able to form a wall with Giannis and Brook Lopez there. But Malik Beasley and Dame Lillard are 2 of the worst defenders in the league. They're going to struggle on the perimeter, especially with a team that has guards that can shoot above 40% like the Nuggets have. So I'm throwing a lot of points out there, but I love AG. I think his defense is the anchor of the unit. I agree with Nick that he's the third. I mean, you can go back and watch the play that won the Nuggets a championship, a video we dropped on our last week, and it pretty much the Nuggets' entire offense runs around this action that involves Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. And it's almost everything stems from there. And Mike is really just used as a spacer. Now, is he as elite of a spacer as you can get and a plus on defense now, all those things? But the heart and soul of that offense runs through those 3 guys.
Yeah, to me, that 3 is a elite core. MPJ makes them into like the 2018 Warriors or something if he's hitting. That's like the role there or whatever. You don't really even need him to win a championship, I don't think, but he makes them like untouchable if he's healthy and if he's cooking.
It's so funny about MPJ. We've seen how good he was in the playoffs. I can't wait when he gets even better this season and contribute even stronger to another championship, because probably the national pundits be like, is MPJ as good as Kyle Kuzma? Like he's really becoming a 3-and-D guy. Like he's really hoping to become Kyle Kuzma one day. That's going to be so awesome. Steve, you mentioned Colin Gillespie. He really did have a pretty bad game, number one. But my main takeaway about him is he needs a different haircut. There's no reason to try and copy Harrison Wind that way. Find another way to be handsome. I mean, come on, man. It's too easy. But on a serious note, I want KCP to become a modern era Robert Horry. Like, I hope he wins 7 championships. Just let it be 6 with the good guys. He just hits those daggers every time the other team thinks they're back in the game. It's so wonderful. But I feel like he didn't miss a single shot in these 2 games. Am I wrong, Nick?
No, yeah, he looks ready. He's ready for the season for sure. And I'm just glad he's on our team. He's one of those guys that you hate when you play against them. They're always hitting these big shots. It's you're running around chasing these elite superstars around, and then there's always this, like, on the great teams, there's always this like thorn player in the corner, the Bruce Bowens of the world. These guys that just, and they never miss those open corner threes at, like, with 3 minutes left in the game or something like that. And I'm just thrilled that we have one of them, because there's not many of them in the league.
Yeah, KCP has been just awesome. Okay, it is time for our second break, and then we'll move to the second game against the Bulls. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we're back. But before we go to the Bulls game, I just wanted to ask you guys about one thing I've noticed, and that is that the starters are kind of trying to use Jokic on the block more than before. Like, everybody's feeding him. It's not only Jamal, it's KCP, it's Aaron Gordon, it's crazy. Am I crazy to think that Nikola might average 30 points this season, Steve?
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, Jokic is always going to take what the game gives to him. I guess it all comes down to what the defense decides from a night-to-night basis. They want him to kill them with 70% effective field goal percentage, or do they want him to kill them with 12 assists? Like, I mean, that's the hard part about gauging what his stats are going to be, because he's just going to take what the game gives to him every time.
Yeah, for this season, I have one big wish, because Nikola and Jamal last season averaged 16 assists per game, total between the two of those. 16 assists per game. I just want them to up that to 18, 19 this season, and I don't care who gets how much. It's like, if we have Jamal with 10 and Nikola with 8, I would be so thrilled about that. Can you see that, Kalle, from this season, like Jamal completely taking the point guard duties to another level?
That's one of my big takeaways from these first 2 preseason games is Jamal has been dishing it to everybody, not just Jokic, which has been great. I think he had 5 assists in both of the first couple preseason games, which is more than he averaged for an entire basically regular season last year. He averaged 6.2 assists last year. I think that number can go up by 2 or 3 assists a game this year. He's really looking to share, and I think we saw progressively through the playoffs last year that skill set develop, and then obviously in the finals he averaged 10 assists, which was crazy. I really think that skill set has sort of been unlocked in his brain, for lack of a better term. He should be able to just really set the table and sort of pick apart. I think his basketball IQ has also leveled up over the last couple of years, where he's able to just set the table. And then that pick and roll with Jokic is going to give him 4 or 5 assists a game alone. So if he's looking in a couple more spots to make that extra pass, I think not only him, but Jokic, that combined assist number really could be 18, 19, which would be devastating for other teams.
So, Nick,
Yep.
have we already seen Nikola's highest scoring season 2 seasons ago, or do you expect him to?
Yeah, I think he's probably going to take a step back in scoring a little bit this year. I think he's going to really be looking to get other people as involved as possible. And I guess maybe the biggest thing is I think Jamal is probably going to score more this year. I think Jamal's really going to make a push to make an all-star. game this year. And I think he's ready. I think he will this year. And I think he just needs a little bit more scoring and like the assists. I totally agree with that idea too, that so far he does look like he's really focused on distributing, but in a way to set up teammates for scoring, not just not just moving the ball, but moving the ball in a very deliberate fashion to lead directly to a basket. And that should up his assist numbers, hopefully. And like Kalle said, we saw that in the playoffs last year too, the ability that he has there to do that on a night-to-night basis. So I think, if he's scoring a little bit more, if MPJ's, continuing to progress, his shot total might go up some. We've got some of these young guys we want to try to work into the rotation and get them scoring, like Strawther in particular, or even working on Christian Brown's offense a bit, perhaps. I don't know where what he's like working on developing. I mean, if he could develop a consistent 3-point shot or something like that, along with his elite like slashing game, I think I just think but also what Steven said, like Jokic just he does what the game needs. So to answer your question more directly, like we could see a season where Jokic scores like 33 a game, but it's going to be because of injuries or something, probably, where he just has to do that on a night-to-night basis. I don't think that's what he wants.
Let's go to the Chicago game now. So I felt like the starters played with a lot of skill, of course, but I felt the whole time they were all high on marijuana. Like they were very loose and smooth and looked like they were there to have a good time. So Jamal was missing from the outside, but it felt like he didn't miss a single mid-ranger. And they all of them were so loose. They were like what these guys? We're supposed to play more serious against these guys? Like I get it that the bench, some of the versions of the bench we've seen in this game lost the game. Some other versions of them almost won it, like that fourth quarter push was really good by the guys that were down by 9 points or whatever. But what we've seen from the starters, this is actually my biggest takeaway from the game. We've seen like 3 different games. First half, something that's similar to the rotation we expect to see on the opening night. And then the third quarter was a bench lineup with DJ playing the center. And then the fourth quarter was actually like a summer league lineup, like 5 guys that actually played in summer league, plus Jake Huff, I guess, who wasn't in the summer league, if I remember correctly. So
I literally had no idea who Funk was, by the way. They kept saying Funk's name, and I was like, what is that, like what pick, like is that like Pickett's nickname or something? Or what is it like?
Yeah, Funk is Jalen Pickett's old buddy from college. Like
yeah.
Him with him. So yeah, Funk. I mean, he looks super fun. Mm-hmm. I think he's gonna have a serious career, probably not in the NBA, but he's gonna have a serious career because he plays hard. He runs like a maniac. So I really hope good things.
He's a dope name.
Are gonna happen to him. One thing I know I'm taking too much time at this moment, but I was listening to the Losers Long, before I watched the game itself, and I was expecting a horrific game by Jay Huff. And all the trashing was because he was posterized and also scored several times on, in the overtime, to be fair. But guys, he was posterized because he was trying to challenge the dunker. That's not a bad thing. And before that, he made a layup, blocked the shot, had some rebounds, hit the 3. He was very active. I'm not saying he's a great player. In fact, he might be the slowest NBA player since Will Perdue. But he was on the court when the third stringers erased those whatever points they were behind. So some justice to Jay Huff. Come on, guys. He's not that. I mean, he's going to be a really good player on the Gold this season, for sure. So any other impressions from the second game? Like calling Gillespie?
What do you guys think about Najee? Yeah, Najee was what I was going to bring up. I'm having a hard time even having a strong opinion about him one way or the other, or like I don't know. He's just one of those players like I can't get a read on. I can't tell. Like, is he progressing? Is he good? Is he terrible? I don't. Like, Trey Lyles was kind of always like that for me. I got to a point where I just thought he was terrible, but like that first year or something, it was like, is he good? Is he not? Is he? I don't know what this is. I don't know. I'm just confused.
I'm just gonna say it. Zeke Nnaji should be less soft in his fourth NBA season. I mean, I know he has missed a lot of games due to injuries and then trying to get back into the rotation, but him not playing harder might be the main reason Moch takes so much time to give him another chance every season. Kale, how did Zeke look to you?
In game 2, Zeke struggled quite a bit. I haven't loved what I've seen from Zeke this summer, I have to be honest. I thought he had a really strong game in game 1, but I'm hearing weird things about his shot again. So, we talked to one of the Nuggets shooting coaches, and they always say that you should cut what you shoot in open, 3-point shooting drill, cut that in half, and that's what you'll shoot in a game. And he's around 75 out of 100 right now, so that doesn't quite make 40%, which is what you would be hoping for from someone who's a floor spacer. I like how switchable he is on defense, but I think he gets lost and posterized too much against guys that are a little bit bigger than him. I'm kind of worried about that backup big spot just in general. I think Zeke's a little soft for someone who's going to be playing the 5. And I don't have anything great to say about everything I've seen other than he had a good game, that first game in game 1. I thought it was borderline disastrous in game 2. They're going to be able to play matchups, and when teams are playing small, they'll probably throw Zeke in there, and when teams are playing big, they'll probably throw DJ in there. But does that allow Zeke to develop and get any rhythm? DJ, I'm not worried about so much because he's played so much throughout his career. But with a guy that's still in the development phase, I just kind of worry about taking him in and out of rhythm, especially when he's kind of still working on his shot. I don't know. I find it hard to believe that Zeke's in the playoff rotation come playoffs, and honestly, I don't really see him on this team past trade deadline.
Yeah, that's a very fair assessment. My last impression from this game is Hunter Tyson, who played 30 minutes again, like the biggest minutes of all of the players. And that's notable. I think it should be taken into consideration when we try and predict the 5 guys off the bench on the rig night versus the Lakers. Also, that inbound pass to Braxton Key for the overtime, that was sick.
Larry Bird-esque, maybe you're saying.
Steve, did you welcome that shot, or were you like, oh man, this game should be over by now?
Well, no, I was happy for it. I'm free basketball, man. I don't care. I just had 2.5 months of no basketball. I want basketball.
Jokic was so happy off the bench. He jumped and he was so happy. So yeah, I mean,
I thought he didn't care. He doesn't care about any of this.
I mean, let's be fair. If the game was over, he would just go back to his hotel room and play Pokemon for the rest of the night. So this is the way he could have hang with the buddies for 15 minutes more or something like that. So yeah, that was a really, that might be the best shot of the entire preseason. And that's something, because Hunter Tyson was already the MVP of the Summer League, right?
First team all Summer League.
First team Summer League. And now he has the best, possession of the preseason. That's notable. I hope good things are coming Hunter's way. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch the second half real closely, but what I saw, it seemed like he was balling. I mean, it seemed like he had a number of like NBA plays that he made. So
yeah, I mean, Colin Gillespie made like 11 threes in this game. He was really good. Yeah, I don't think he's really an NBA player, but who knows? Things might change, and maybe a guy who is 6 feet tall and not very quick. Maybe there is a way for a guy like that to
Gillespie?
Stay.
He can play make. He's so good. Like, he really is good. Like, if you watch him on the floor, he's super patient. Like, his grasp of the point guard position is very strong. So I could see him finding a way. I mean, he'll always struggle around the rim, but
This is
I mean,
not
if you can run a pick and roll, the depth in the NBA. I mean, he could be like a Monte Morris light type player.
This is not me taking a shot at him, but I think he's going to be a really good EuroLeague point. He's going to be really good. And that's not a knock. There are some really, really good players in the EuroLeague, and I'm excited to watch it this season. Okay, time for our last break, and then we'll just do a quick game before we get out of here. Okay, so the game we're going to play just for a couple of minutes, because I just cannot keep myself off games this season, I guess. The name of the game is Who's Wearing the Clothes? So I now know this sounds bizarre, so let me explain. Jerry Seinfeld famously said 30 years ago that sports fans don't cheer for human beings, they cheer for the clothes they're wearing. So what this game looks like is I will give you a jersey number, and you tell me which current Nugget is wearing it. So no Googling, please. Yeah, I would suck so bad at this.
I've never paid attention to the numbers ever.
I know the numbers on the jerseys of the starters, but other than that, I would suck so bad. So let's start with Kale. So who is wearing number 3 this season?
3? It's Justin Holiday, right?
That is not correct. Do we have another idea?
Let me.
The Braxton Key?
I don't even know who that is. Yeah.
No. Nick, do we have an idea?
3. No. I mean, I could just guess somebody. Reggie Jackson.
It's the next Michael Jordan, Julian Strawther. Julian Strawther is number 3. So, Nick, question for you: who is wearing number 4? I'm not keeping score, by the way. This is just for fun.
KCP.
No, Kale. An idea?
Number 4. Is that Hunter Tyson?
That's correct. Yeah. Hunter Tyson is number 4. Steve, number 6.
Number 6? Oh man, I have no idea.
This is
by the way,
this
is the easiest question of them all. By the way, the other one are really.
Is it 6s?
Oh, no.
It is.
Oh, man, I have no idea.
Is 6 AG?
No.
AG wears 50.
None of the starters.
I'm trying to even think what Jokic's number is, and I have 15.
And you have the jersey on you.
Yeah, I'm not wearing it currently, but yeah.
So number 6 is DJ. DJ is number 6. Okay, number 7.
Yeah.
Number 7. We've seen this. Come on, guys.
Oh, is it Reggie?
It is Reggie. It is Reggie. I'm not counting, but that's second point for you. Number 9.
That's Justin Holiday.
Justin Holiday is number 9. Number 11.
I knew that one.
11.
Number 11. That's Monte's old number. Is it Colin?
It's Braxton Key. Number 21. By the way, half of these numbers were not even on ESPN at the moment. Yeah. I had to watch the game and take notes because so much of these guys are new.
We couldn't even Google these answers.
Names we haven't said yet. I don't know.
Can I say Colin again?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Colin. Okay. Number 22.
That's Zeke.
It's Zeke. That's right. And number 24 for the end.
That's Jalen Pickett.
Jalen Pickett is number 24. So great finish by Steve at the end. So yeah, it's so funny. One of the questions from the steps back in the day during the quarantine were like, who is wearing number this and that on the Nuggets? And I was like, oh, F you guys. Like I don't know, man. I mean that's too hard.
Is this
So
still? Is this because I've gotten old that I don't care anymore? Because like I feel like when I was a teenager watching basketball, I knew like all the stars' numbers and stuff. Is that a thing?
Totally. I knew every number. I
Yeah.
had all the jerseys when I was a kid, but like
And when
now I'm
Jordan
like,
had the 45 jersey for a while instead of 23, because like they had retired his jersey, so he had to wear, and then that became like a thing. Like some people started wearing 45 for a while.
I can give you like each number from every player of the top 8 teams from 1989. It's because
Yeah.
I used to play a video game back in the day, and I was playing it so fiercely that I just remember all of the numbers, because there's not much other things to remember about the players, because they all were like pixels back in '89. So it's not like there were many differences between them. Okay, guys, does anybody want to plug something before we go out of here?
follow me on Twitter at Kalle Sorbo.
That's a good plug.
You're a
Nick?
great follow also. Yeah. Yeah, same. I don't really have anything going to plug specifically right now, but I will, if I ever do in the future, I will let you know. I might have a few things cooking.
Excellent. Steve, you don't need to plug anything. Everybody knows you on the Nuggets Twitter. So I wish everybody have a great weekend. It's almost over for me now, because I have to heal my wounds during Sunday before the Monday hits again. Life is not that great. Okay, thank you very much for hanging out with us for the last 62 minutes or so, and go Nuggets.